Key ingredients, America by food. Do you ever wonder where you were the first time maybe you tried a Big Mac, or maybe it was something at home? Maybe it was Rice Krispie treats. Well, America by Food looks at all the history. Where did our food come from clear back of the influence of slaves all the way to the latest technology? Let's check out where this exhibit's been. Joining me is Susie Sassenberg. And Susie, with Urbana University, you took a big responsibility in having the exhibit here at the university for a month. First of all, what was it like coordinating the event?
Well, obviously it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun too. And I had a wonderful committee that just sort of organized itself, and everybody stepped up and took a part and were responsible about getting their parts done. So it turned out to be a lot of work, but a lot of fun at the same time.
But you actually added some things to the exhibit. The exhibit goes and spends its time for about a month, and people come and look at it. What other kind of things did you add to it?
Well, that's part of the idea of the traveling exhibits is for the host sites to add supplementary programming. And so we have, today, for instance, we have a trade show for agriculture and food production businesses in Champaign County. And they're all here. We have a display of antique and new farm equipment. We have a petting zoo that FFA has brought to us. So we have a number of different things going on today for our grand opening.
Now, we're just past Halloween, or for some, harvest time. And as you look at that, it's a fun time to have the display. You're actually, number 6 or 7 stops on the overall Ohio program?
I believe we're number 6. There's 2 to follow us.
And those will actually both be after the first of the year?
That's correct.
So you take a look at those and you find out more about them. Would you encourage someone to go to the effort to bring this kind of an event, if available, in the future?
I really would. We have really enjoyed it. We've had a lot of fun. We've learned to meet a lot of different people in the community that maybe didn't have a lot to do with the university before this. And it's really been a nice melding of community and university people.
And this is the only one in Ohio that's really been hosted at a university. What was the student reaction like?
I think at first they were a little bewildered, and then as time went on and they began to understand what it was like, I have had a lot of student help. I have students who are being guides, docents for the exhibit. I have students who've made signs, who've made posters, who've stuffed envelopes for me. I had students in here yesterday helping set up the exhibit and helping set up the trade show. So they are on board and they're excited about having it here. And I think they understand the significance of having such an exhibit here at our university.
Susie, thanks for the update. Thanks for the kids who helped set up our display the other day, too. Fran Tiberzio is with us. She's the Director of Public Relations for the Ohio Humanities Council. And Fran, what's all your role in bringing this to Ohio?
Well, the Ohio Humanities Council is the statewide presenter of key ingredients. So we worked with the Museum on Main Street and the Smithsonian to bring the exhibit to Ohio so we could tour around the state.
Fran, as you walk through, any particular highlights that you noted as were important food for you?
For this place, I was most excited, I've got to tell you, about the lovely ear of corn, the quilted ear of corn that they have here. It's very cute. I got to see some kids lifting up the kernels and reading the stuff underneath it. It's very rewarding. It's
corny jokes is what's part of.
Corny jokes. Art, yeah.
That's what it's all about, but it got people to stop and take a look at it. Can you walk us through starting some of the different things? I mean, one area was all about plantations and history.
Yeah, well, there are, I think, 5 major areas of the exhibit, and you don't have to start in any particular place, so there's no beginning and there's no end. But we try to have a local section, and that's where Susie and all the wonderful folks here have put in a lot of their local thing. Again, in each community who hosts it, it's going to be different. And they have, like, tools, and they have, it's manufacturing, things like that. So there are certain things that we want people to notice, but we also want them to come away with that personal experience, how they relate to it, and what it's like for this community and these people.
I noticed in here was a section on cooking and cooking at home, and there wasn't a section on eating out necessarily, but there are a lot of places that people eat out. We see the trends from eating out, but not necessarily depicted as that's kind of what people do more of now.
They may or may not. It depends on the people. There are always, great takeout places in every community. So that's going to be part of that too. But a lot of food traditions and family traditions begin in the kitchen. So that's what people think of. Eating, cooking is a great way to forge family relationships, and that's part of the exhibit as well.
As you look at the food overall, some of the displays led me to believe that you've got to look back a long way in history to see what some of the tradition is and where that traditional influence may have come from.
Exactly. And depending on what part of the country you're in, of course, it's going to be different. This is a national exhibit. So Ohio has a different take on it than, say, Nevada or Wisconsin. So traditions here are different from traditions everywhere, and that's what makes this such a unique exhibit.
When you think of tradition, you think of certain events having certain things. Do people eat certain things for certain feelings?
Well, I think that's where the whole idea of comfort food came from. A lot of people will eat chocolate or gravy or whatever their particular comfort food is, and a lot of foods I think evoke certain feelings. I can't sit down in a movie theater without having popcorn, and there are all kinds of different foods I think that encourage feelings.
The Ohio Humanities Council, what other events are they involved in?
We have a big living history program that travels the state called Ohio Chautauqua. We have a very, very popular speakers bureau. We do summer institutes for K through 12 teachers, and we have a big lecture series called the Ohio Forum, among many, 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 many zillions of other things.
So the website to find out more about those activities, as well as to find out where we'll be for this exhibit down the road, is what?
www.ohiohumanities.org.
ohiohumanities.org. Fran, thanks for the update.
Thank you.
You have the opportunity to not only eat wherever you go, but maybe take a look at some of the history behind the food and the key ingredients. America by Food, an interesting display of where our food is, where it's come from, and maybe where it's going. Until next time, I'm Dale Minyo, and I'll see you down the road. Down the Road is brought to you in part by Prince Agra, makers of Omnigen AF, advancing animal nutrition for healthy animals, and Woodruff Enterprise of Springfield, Ohio.